welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And today has been a very weird day in Rachel's brain. So that's your forewarning. So we're gonna see what happens here. We'll start out by saying that I connected with an old friend of mine. She was my best friend. She was my very, very best friend growing up. And we have lost touch. And we connected over faith, actually. And I don't know. I can't even put it into words. I feel a lot of feelings. I feel a lot of feelings. And yeah, I don't know what to say about that. That's all I'm gonna say about that for now. It's not negative. It's only positive, but it's hard to articulate what I'm feeling. It's just weird. It feels weird today because I love her. You know, if I could, I guess I just assumed that life was great. You know, it's funny that I assume other people's lives are great. And while I'm suffering, um, and, and life wasn't great. And it's making me feel really sad. I think I'm like mourning for her. I'm like grieving for her, not mourning. I'm grieving on her behalf. You guys know better than anyone that I've got an over empathy problem. And the fact that I found out that life was not great made me feel very sad today because I wanted life to be great for her. And yeah, so that's what I'm feeling today. I think what's interesting is that I'm 50 years old. This was my best friend in grade school. And my love for her is the same as it ever was. It's interesting. It's like I wish I was there when she was not happy, you know? So anyway, that's just what I'm feeling. And I wonder if you can relate to that type of thing when you reconnect with somebody that you haven't seen in a really long time. And if you just assumed things were great and they weren't, or the opposite. Like, I don't know. I think it's something to think about. So that's one reason why I've been feeling weird. And I haven't articulated it until right now. And that's another benefit that I have by having this podcast, that I can talk about these things. And I never name anybody. So, and then the other thing that was weird today was one of those days that I was feeling a little itty bitty bit of self-pity. So I started out by I'm making another quilt, and I find it to be very rewarding when I make a quilt for somebody. So I made a quilt top for myself. And it's the worst one I've ever done. I didn't spend a lot of time measuring and perfecting the cuts. I just threw it together. And I can tell. So this was a good exercise for me to see what it's like to just do it without being a perfectionist. And I can tell, and it's very irritating to look at. But that's my quilt. Why would I do that? Why would I make myself the not perfect quilt? The least perfect quilt, I should say. Anyway, it's mine and it's for lounging around in the house. And I just knew that the dogs were going to be on it and it was going to have to go in the wash like every week. So I would have hated to spend a lot of time on it and have it get destroyed really fast. So that's why I just kind of put it together. Um, Anyway, and now I'm making another quilt with the same leftover squares. I got all this material from my mom and I matched all the materials up together into sections so that the different colors would go into a quilt. So I had enough of the reds and the yellows in order to make two quilt tops. So I'm making the second one, and I just figured out today who I'm going to send it to. And I don't like to say who that is in case they listen to the podcast. So anyway, my next victim has been chosen, and I did get a message from my ex mother-in-law. She received the lap quilt that I sent to her. I very much wanted to send her something uplifting before the holiday season starts. I think about her quite often, and I know the colder seasons get to be a little more difficult for some people, and then just feeling like I wanted her to know that I was thinking about her more than she knows. And so I was hoping that a quilt might portray that, might demonstrate that amount of that I think about her and love her. So that was done. That was good. She said it made her day. So that's great. I have another quilt victim in the process. So I started out my day doing that. And then I went down and my husband was preparing some ingredients to make Persian meat patties, which was something that we had planned on making this week. So he was like, he preps all this stuff and then I make the dish. So that's what we did today. And I don't know. Excuse me, I had an ice cream cone before the podcast episode, as usual. And I was frying the Persian meat patties, and while I was doing it, I was thinking, I don't want to be doing this. I want to be working in a career. I want to be in front of the computer. I want to be making a living. I want to be making money. I want to be reaching new heights. I was starting to feel sorry for myself. So this was a long conversation because these meat patties took a long time. So this was a long conversation with myself. And I thought, as much as I don't want to be frying these patties, my husband does not want to be downstairs on the computer working. Like, I want to be doing that, and he wants to be doing what I'm doing. And the only reason that I want to be doing that instead of this is because I can't. You know, what him and I were talking about this evening was if I was working in front of the computer before my stroke and somebody came up to me and said, guess what? I'm going to offer you can either sit here and work for the rest of your life, or you can not work and have a headache every day, but you can do whatever the hell you want every day for the rest of your life. What would I have chosen? Like, I probably would have chosen, yeah, I can take a headache, or you know what I mean? But it's a lot different when you're forced into it. And over a year of a headache, we're about June, July, August, September. So we are 15 months. Well, honestly, I've had the headache for 3 years and 3 months. I've only been off work for 1 year and 3 months, 15 months. So a headache for 3 years, it gets a little aggravating, as you can imagine. Um, so I was just, I guess, feeling sorry for myself that I was thinking, what is like, how do I reach greatness like this? How do I reach greatness frying meat patties? And then I thought of a woman that used to be in my neighborhood in Charlestown, and she was a stay-at-home mother. And I remember dropping off some stuff at her house. I went to her house for some reason. Um, and she opened the door. I think I came into the foyer, and her house was spotless. Spotless. Like she shampoos the carpets every week. Spotless. I mean, it was just stunning. And it smelled good. Like it was just like, holy crap. It made me feel like I'm a terrible mother and, um, but all that's to say that some people do great at being this, Granted, she didn't have a headache every day or vision issues or, all the stuff. Like that's understood. But some people can, my husband was saying, can be great at anything that that's put in front of them. Some people can be great and not love what they're doing. Some people can be, you know what I'm getting at? It's like maybe you don't know what I'm getting at because I don't know what I'm getting at. I'm sure she felt very rewarded internally with what she was doing in her life. I'm sure she felt accomplished because that was her dream to be a stay-at-home mother, to take care of her absolutely adorable children and keep just a spotless, stunning house and be like a caregiver. And she was great at it and probably felt rewarded because she was freaking good at it. But for me, I don't see that as my dream. I don't see that as my goal that I'm reaching for. I'm still trying to figure out what that is. And sometimes I feel a little more lost than other times. Um, I guarantee you by the end of this podcast episode, I won't feel it will have broken all of that chatter in my head that I've had throughout the day. Because when I sit down and I record and I talk to you, I'm reminded about what I want to be great at. And what I want to be great at is sharing my experience, strength, and hope to help others. That's what I want to be great at. And I'm doing that through my podcast. I'm doing that through writing a book. And I'm doing that through, as much as I can, reaching out to other organizations to partner. That part's a little difficult for me because I have a hard time doing online research and that kind of thing. I'm taking action in order to be able to do that, which is where my voiceover class comes in, my Mac voiceover class. So I have it all in place, and then I have all these hobbies that I enjoy that are just added on top of this goal of mine, this desire, this mission to help other people. I want other people to not have to experience the experiences I had and feel alone, and feel like they're unique and they're the only ones. So I feel good just saying that out loud again. So hopefully I have broken the spell of self-pity that I've been feeling today because it was just, I know it just makes my day drag because I'm not, I don't know, I'm not bouncing through the day. And I like to bounce through the day. I have high expectations of myself. I understand that too. Um, So, the episode, what I actually wanted to talk about today, and I feel like I've taken up most of the time already, but what I wanted to talk about was a day in the life of being a mom who is an active alcoholic. And I think what I'm going to do is save that topic for tomorrow because I feel like I want today's topic to stay where it is right now. And that is to show that with work, we can change our mindset. With work, with showing up and doing, you know, walking through the day despite the self-talk that's happening, sharing the self-talk with another person. That's what I did. I shared it with my husband. And he's just, I know I brag about him all the time, but he's responsive, he replies and he talks about different aspects of how I'm feeling. And he was the one that came up with that question. Like he said, if somebody came down to me and said, "Do you want?" Here's the deal: you can either work all day, do what you're doing, or you can do anything else. He said, I know, I'll do anything else. And that cracked me up. But I think the part of the conversation that was missing tonight from my conversation with him is that I didn't add to the equation that I'm dealing with chronic pain. I think that if if he was asked that you can do what you're doing now or you can do anything else, it's that's not the only that's not the only part of what is happening. You know what I'm trying to say? It's also adding a layer of chronic pain. And then another layer of these are the things you can and can't do. I think that's really what has stumped me today, um, because I felt it all day today. I felt it when I woke up this morning. And you know how I wake up in the morning, I make a decision that I'm going to show up for myself. I'm going to do all of this stuff anyway. And I spent the morning in my meetings, my 7 a.m. meeting, my 8 a.m. meeting, thinking about what it was like, right? I was thinking about what it was like as an active alcoholic being a mom. And I wonder if that set the tone for my day. Because what I didn't do after I wrote all of these notes down about the memories of what was missing, memories of what I may have regretted, um, what I coulda, shoulda done. I think I wrote all these down. I have so many examples here in front of me, but I never followed up at the end of that and said, and this is what it's like to be a sober mom. I haven't said that yet. So I think it's even more of a good idea. It's even more of a good idea. What am I trying to say? It's an even better idea. I think it's a great idea still. What what is happening in my brain? To save that topic for tomorrow because I don't want to end the podcast episode talking about all the things that I felt like I missed out on or wasn't a good mom because of my drinking. I want to follow up with this is what it's like now because that's the important part is to talk about what it was like before and what it's like now. And that's the hope. I can share my experience all day long, but how am I helping if I'm not talking about my strength of how I got to where I am today and the hope? The hope lives in the changes, the work, the what I received from getting sober and what I received continuously on a day-to-day basis by staying sober. And I should end on that is that, I'm sitting in this weird hamster wheel kind of mindset today, but I also haven't considered what would have today have been like if I was drinking. I wouldn't have processed any of this. I wouldn't have been here for myself. I certainly wouldn't be sitting here today, right here in front of you, sharing about how today was hard. And I think sometimes the healing, the answer, the solution is just in showing up and opening my mouth and saying, today was hard. And I want tomorrow to be better. And if I'm making that decision, choose happy, it doesn't mean that I'm choosing to be happy right this minute. It means that I'm choosing the direction of happiness. And the direction of happiness for me is to tell you today was hard. I want tomorrow to be better. That means I'm choosing happiness, and tomorrow will be better because of that. Mark my words. Mark my words, people. Tomorrow's going to be a good day. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow, and we're going to talk about a day in the life of being a drunk mom, but we're going to end it with the day in the life of being a sober mom. So thanks again.